yeah. Okay, so we have correctly identified those. The third mate we identified, but we don't know his fate. Yeah, Arcane, you can put, like, unknown seaman or passenger or unknown steward, unknown midshipman, unknown topman, things like that. We've correctly identified a lot. The ship's steward, I kind of guessed at. So these guys are all stewards. But then this guy is the only one dressed as a steward that we didn't identify, so we think he's the ship's steward. And he was spiked and then, like, crawled away. Hang on, I'll be right back. 2 seconds. I'm back. So, real quick, good news. My wife is actually on call. So, she's going to take the kids to the dentist. Which is amazing. And she's wonderful. And if you didn't hear her yell, I should not forget this. So, yeah. That's fantastic. And that takes a lot of the pressure off of trying to figure out what is going on. What was this? That's somebody's leg. Yeah, I will never forget that. Oh, we figured that out. We don't need to look at that. We know what happened here. We figured out murder. Oh, we might be able to get another 6-hour stream. Yeah. No. This guy is successfully... Yeah, okay. We know all that. We might be able to get some fates here. We know what happened to him. You were clubbed in the back of the head. Anybody else on the ropes? The music in this is so good. Oh, this guy. This guy... crushed by a beast, but he's... stabbed with a spear. Who stabbed you with a spear? Then there's... this guy's creepy. The second mate steward, totally creepy. As they're trying to escape. So they're all trying to escape with the second mate. This is his whole crew. I feel like we should be able to identify this guy. Like, there should be some indication of who that is. We know everyone else. Yeah, he's a 3-triangle deduction. Which seems to me to mean there's not really any clear indication. Why did I have him as... those crew members had tried to stop Nichols and got hurt in the process. Right. So did he get speared by Nichols or did he get speared by somebody else? I'm pretty sure this is the helmsman. Because he's holding the helm in this picture. Right? But crushed by a terrible beast might not be correct. He might have been speared by a foreign enemy? Speared by unknown. He also might not have died from this, yeah. I'm pretty sure he was also... I'm just going to change him to unknown fate. Because I don't know where I got crushed by Beast. Was he the guy being lifted up in the air by the Kraken? I don't remember. I don't recall. Let's look at a Kraken memory. Love that that memory is tied to just a foot hanging off of the edge of the boat. Hey Mark, how you doing today? Okay. Kraken. Let's look at Kraken stuff. That's you getting cut in half. You guys are Kraken, right? Hey, Tark here. Oh no, this is the... Right, this is when they first brought that stuff on. That's not the memory I wanted. Never mind. There's so many pieces to this puzzle. It's fascinating. Was this... What was this one? The Doom. Yeah, so that's the Kraken. I'm doing really well, Mark. How is your Friday going? Anybody have any big plans for the weekend? The Doom is your new favorite title of anything ever. Boom! Not the one I wanted. We pretty much know everything here. We identified the guy who's getting blown up. We identified this guy. I need a different Kraken memory. The last day before summer break at the bar? That's fun. That guy was speared by the crabs. You have to re-find the prompt for a memory. I can look at the... There is a map that tells me. If I look at the ship, I can see... excuse me. The history of the Doom. So it might be this one? Oh, yeah. It was tied in... That one being lifted off the helm, I think, was tied into the wife's memory. Yeah, I think so. And you can see a timeline, so you know what order they occurred in. Let's look at the wife's memory. There it is. Yeah, so that's the helmsman. So he recovered from the leg wound, and now he's being lifted in the air. So how would we qualify that death? That's why I had crushed by a beast. Drowned by a beast? Fell overboard? Eaten? Torn apart? Yeah, this is after the leg wound. It's not really clear. Maybe he's alive? Maybe he's poisoned? Struck by hooves, tail, or wing? Interesting. We don't see him die, no. I am merely making the assumption. Drowned by a terrible beast. I think that's too much. Death from a fall? You can do fell overboard. Would not really be accurate, I don't think. You could do fell downstairs, fell off of the rigging, or fell overboard. There's a ton of options here. He could be eaten. Was devoured by a beast. Could be fair too. Like he gets... And it could also be crushed or drowned by a terrible beast. He was hugged by Hugsy, yeah. I'm gonna go with... That's why we had him as crushed by a terrible beast. I think that's... No option to be dropped by a kraken. Expired? Expired is expired by old age. There's a lot of death options, and I don't think... I think a lot of them don't apply to the game. Like, I haven't seen anybody be axed. I haven't seen anybody frozen. Or eaten. We do have some person... One person was electrocuted. They were struck by lightning. Strangled, spiked, speared, shot. No one's been poisoned. Don't think. Struck. No one's been struck by wings or hooves. Suicide. Suicide by spear. How is that? Died of a heart attack? Fair. Fair. Torn apart. We did have one person torn apart. But that was very... It was very clear that it was torn apart. I'm gonna go drowned by a beast. It looks like he's getting pulled overboard. And this is the final memory of the Kraken. Surely someone must have been axed. I mean, given this crew, given what's happened, it's certainly a possibility. We've identified the ladies correctly. We know who this is. That's one of the mates, yeah. The stewards. We know who that is. 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 I think the bosun's mate might be alive. But we don't know where they would be. Where's the map? Hang on. Yeah, Arcane, we found the guy with the tattoo. That was super exciting. The journey. Okay, so the doom and then the escape was... The escape happened after the doom? That's when the ladies were getting away. And they took the final boat. And then they were talking about mutiny. That's the escape, is the whole mutiny thing. Those are correct. We know that. That's all correct. They all escaped to... Four wayward souls disappeared. Those are all correct. We got those right. So the only one in the escape that we don't know... We know he's the bosun. But... Was he... blasted with a cannon? I think he was torn apart by a terrible beast. His arm is missing. Torn apart by Not a person. It's got to be a beast. Yeah. He's getting his arm ripped off right now. Look at him. He ends up bleeding out by that. So then the bosun might be still alive. Blasted with a cannon by a terrible beast? How did that happen? On the gun deck, they went to light a fuse to shoot the tentacles, and it grabbed the cannon and spun it around, and the guy ended up plugged on the end of the cannon as it went off, and then his top half disappeared. So he was blasted with a cannon. Also, Kraken have cannon arms. Like, you want to talk about something that would be terrifying? A Kraken with cannon arms. I'm sure there's an anime about that. Ooh, there's somebody. Hello. You are about to be killed by a Kraken. So once again, I'm gonna go with drowned by a beast. Yes! It was Lee. The bunk was right. The helmsman was right. And the bosun was right. Yes! Got it. Almost 3/4 of the way there. So one of the things, if you didn't see yesterday, one of the things that they do in this game is it will only verify that you're correct once you have 3 different people correct. Then it will show you those 3 that you got correct. So you can't just sit there and shuffle through all the options and kind of brute force it. You still kind of can, but I think Arcane that is the bargain. This chapter will remain unknown to you until you leave the ship and return the book to me, H.E., who is the surgeon. The preface to the book is, I trust that you now find yourself aboard the Obra Dinn. I expected this day to come, and my every intention was to tell the ship's strange tale within the pages of this book. Regrettably, failing health has allowed me to produce only the basic outline that follows. Your presence on the Obra Dinn is critical. I leave the discovery of its fate and the completion of this book in your hands. The next few pages will seem bewildering at first. All will make sense in time. Nope, I don't believe that. Use the pocket watch to determine the identity and fate of everyone on board. Complete each chapter accurately and return the book by guaranteed post to the French Office of Affairs in Morocco. The bargain chapter will remain unknown to you. I possess the details within, but have elected to keep them private for now. Henry Evans. So, there is still stuff that I need to determine. I'm pretty sure that hatched out section is the bargain. So there are still people that I don't know. If we go down the crew list, we can see who that is. We don't know the fate of the third mate. We don't know the fate of the bosun's mate. I probably have these misidentified. The carpenter and the carpenter's mate. I thought I had them correctly. Maybe not. The purser is also a guess, and we don't know their fate. These are all correct. The ship's steward, I thought we had right. I don't think we do. The captain's steward, we don't know his fate. He was imprisoned. We know who he is, but we don't know his fate. He was imprisoned by the captain, so we don't know what happened to him. We identified one Chinaman, that's a plus. We don't know what happened to the Peter's brother who clubbed Lars Linde. We don't know what happened to John Naples. He had his leg ripped off by a beast. We know that. But I don't know if that's what killed him. We don't know if he died from that. We haven't identified... We identified one of the Indians, not the others. We don't know the fate of this guy from Sierra Leone. We don't know the fate of a lot of people, actually. And we don't know if this is Alexander Booth. This could also be somebody else, the other Englishman. Just making educated guesses at that point. But we are getting bits and pieces by going back through the memories. We're getting bits and pieces of different people by going back through. This is when the captain shoots himself.
Abigail.
I didn't really look around all that much.
Your brother. My friend. I shot him. Dead.
We know the fates of all these guys.
I'll be with you. Soon, my love.
We know who that is.
Please forgive me.
Go up here.
For everything.
It seemed like there was almost no one left on the ship at this point. Like, there's no one else here. Abigail's brother was the first mate. William Hoscut. She was Abigail Hoscut Witterell, I think was the captain's last name. Yeah, Witterell. And she was Abigail Hoscut Witterell. That's how we figured out who the first mate was. He was the only one left alive. It seems, right? Like, there's no one left on the ship. Where on the map? The journey. So here's... So between the Doom, something happened in between here. So I wonder if the people that are missing are on the Azores. Because then here's the escape. That's the... When the ladies escaped, they took the last one, or whatever. The last boat. And then here's the end. So they made it to here once the calling hit. And this all happened. It looks like they turned around. And they were trying to make their way back to England. The doctor and the ladies ended up in Africa, Morocco. So I wonder if the rest of the crew that we don't know the fate of ended up over here. Or in Madeira. I can't imagine they would have gone... west. Unless they knew the islands were there. I know they, during the calling, the first mate was trying to go east to the Canaries. Yeah, this gap here is the bargain, which we won't know until we leave the ship. So maybe during the bargain, like the bosun's mate and the surviving people that we haven't seen die for sure, end up on the Azores. So let's look at the escape again real quick and see if we can see who's still there, because that will determine a lot of things. who is still present in the memories during the escape. Which is... This is the end. Where's the escape? The escape is up there. Where's part 1 of the escape? The aft of the gun deck. That's... Oh, so his death and then the call of mutiny? Okay. The call of mutiny leads to the escape, which then leads to these deaths and then the death of that kid. Okay. So let's look at the escape again real quick. I want to see who is here. Who is still on the ship at this point? Because this is after the bargain.
Last one. Move quick.
So that's Leonid, right? Yeah, that's Leonid saying you're not going to take the last boat. So my guess is these are all the people who are left on the ship. Do we know why monsters attack? Kind of, Mark? Ooh, man. Back-to-back Riggy bots. R.I.P. There was... These... So the Formosans were on board, and they had this chest. And then there were these mystical shells that seemed to attract these mermaid siren monsters that seemed to have some value. And then the second mate kind of goes crazy, kidnaps the Formosans, takes them off in skiffs, runs away from the Obra Dinn. Seems to imply that the Obra Dinn might be trying to chase them down. Then they get attacked by the sirens. The second mate's the only one that survives the encounter. He comes back with a ton of bodies. He gets shot right before he gets on the ship. They start bringing the bodies of those things on board, and then it attacks, and then the crab people attack with the ladies riding on top of them or something. It kind of gets a little convoluted at that point. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, so we have the bosun. We know what happened to him. You're still on the ship. You're still on the ship. It's just these main players that are still on the ship at this point. The first mate and Brennan. This guy who eventually tries to kill the captain. The captain. Look at the hasty repair on the mast after the Kraken attack. So that's the ladies and the doctor and the one steward trying to escape. This is Paul gets cut down. That's one of the other stewards. Okay. So there's not a lot of people left. What is happening here? Are they lowering that crate over the side? Or did it get tossed over during the fight? With the Kraken. And just no one's fixed it. Because they're all panicking. Alright, nothing going on down here. I can't open these doors when I'm in a memory, right? Okay. Yeah, we never know what happens to the goat. Something happens to that cage. The bar is broken open. Maybe I can interact that.